So thank you, Miss Wendy. I got on speed dial with Dane Wigington because of her, and we've gone back and forth. The geoengineering, I won't argue with anyone on this because I don't get into dialectics, but I'm just going to say I am a flight surgeon, and I understand the difference between a wingtip vortices at density altitude that creates moisture on the wingtip at certain temperatures versus chemicals being sprayed. If you see that stuff right there, and it's lingering, that's spraying. Now what's being put in those things? All right, so Mr. Wigington has a great site, geoengineering.org. Geoengineeringwatch.org. Look it up, watch a few videos. You'll see the difference. There are chemical spraying, so these are chemicals that are coming out, a lot with aluminum, which blankets the sun for coming in. Certain UV is blocked. It's actually a global cooling that's taking place. If you saw the Aurora Borealis the other day in Austin, that's a global cooling. That's an effect. That's a first order effect. Eventually it'll be a bad winter. We've already predicted that. He has. We look at the chemicals like barium and cesium. If there's cesium-127, that's radioactive. So if we're looking at those chemicals being sprayed as me on July the 4th when we kicked off our campaign, and I found myself in Ingram, Texas on the river, Guadalupe, for a month, moved our campaign to the right. When we tested it, we got aluminum out of there. Now, that's what we got. All right, some barium that was in there, that was in the soil on the ground. They seeded 2 days before, just upstream of that. Now they say they didn't go over current, but they were upstream of it. You understand how upstream works? Facetiously speaking, it came downstream. Same thing that happened to us in North Carolina when we went out there. A hurricane was brought in off the coast. Yes, I said brought in off the coast and landed in western North Carolina where I used to train in those mountains. I told a person out there, Donica Hudson, I told her, don't worry, you don't need to leave your house. It's a hurricane, it's on the coast, going into the panhandle of Florida. Shouldn't hit you guys. She was stuck in her house for 6 days, cursing me like a sailor. Because I did not think that thing was going to hit so hard in western North Carolina. And sit on top of it and create that watershed effect. Same thing that happened in Guadalupe. That's why we saw 30-foot crests above normal, going all the way down, 26, 30. And we worked it for a month, brought in the best divers in the world, gave a lot of people closure, finding bodies. But we shouldn't have to be doing that. And when I testified to the state joint committee, state, Senate, House, on this, and they gave me 3 whole minutes to talk. And they said, no questions. I offered that emergency response capability for the state to help them develop an after-action review on how to do better to respond to something like that, because it wasn't the state of Texas. They were there. TDEM was there. It was 17,000 Texans and people from other states that showed up that did the bulk of their work on that river. So I thank them. If any of you were there, and I know there are some out there, those boys in the back, they were there. We thank you for that. But good question.